Imagine being by a beach in Bali, or in the mountains in Canada, or in a huge, crazy city in Japan. All being while you are working and earning at the same time. Well, this is a dream of most people, and it's no wonder why. But if you're like most people, you're likely in a location-bound job where you have to be in the office at least a few days a week. And because you are watching this video, my guess is this isn't your favored lifestyle when it comes to earning money. Well, if you don't know who I am, my name's Michael J, and I quit my job almost 6 years ago now, and it is my absolute passion and calling in life to teach as many people how to do the same thing. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through a framework that will help you become a digital nomad in 2024 and beyond. But before we jump into the framework, I think it's important to go over what actually is a digital nomad. So a nomad is basically someone that likes to travel the world, kind of like the travelers or gypsies that we all know of. You are not bound to one location. You like moving around from place to place, country to country. And digital refers to how these nomads make money. Because they don't need a location, all they need is a laptop, i.e. a digital device to make money from. So in summary, a digital nomad is someone that travels the world and earns money from their laptop. They don't need to go to a specific location to be able to earn. Okay, so let's jump into the framework. And the first part of that is confirming if the digital nomad lifestyle is right for you. Because even though it seems like a dream, and for a lot of people it probably will be, it doesn't mean that it's going to be right for you. I know a handful of digital nomads because I met them all while I was traveling around the world, and some of them were around 4 to 6 months in that process, and some of them really didn't like it. They didn't feel comfortable. And it very quickly taught them that actually they do like being at home, and they do like being around a group of people that they're going to be with ongoing for a long period of time. So you really do need to dig deep and look at if the digital nomad lifestyle is for you, because it is a very different lifestyle to a normal 9-to-5 lifestyle job where you go to a place, you know all the people where you work, you go home and you repeat that, because the digital nomad lifestyle is the total opposite of that. You don't go to the same place time after time, and you don't see the same people, so you can't build long-lasting relationships. It's possible, but it is few and far between. You're always moving around, and those people that you meet in certain countries are not necessarily going to come with you to these other new countries. And that's the main point really that I wanted to make about the digital nomad lifestyle, because it is quite a lonely lifestyle, and unless you're good being social and meeting new people and creating relationships wherever you go, then it can be an extremely lonely place to be. And not just that, being self-employed as it is quite risky, and it's quite nerve-wracking, and it doesn't feel comfortable inside your system, in all honesty. So just imagine doing that and traveling around the world on your own. That is going to magnify all of those things by tenfold. So if you're not ready for that, then again, digital nomad lifestyle might not be for you. So I've compiled a list of questions for you to ask yourself just to help shape your decision, because it's really important you ask yourself a lot of questions to determine whether you want to make this huge leap, quit your job and become a full-time digital nomad. Okay, so do you like working with new people? Do you like meeting new people, building new relationships? Or do you prefer to build a network that you know and that you want to stay with and continually build those relationships on an ongoing period? Are you comfortable in new countries, in new environments, and being in new locations? Because being a digital nomad, you're constantly bouncing around. You'll be in coffee shops, you'll be in hotel rooms, Airbnbs, you'll be all over the place. And obviously on the flip side of that, in a 9 to 5 job where you are location bound, it's just that one location. Are you okay with being alone most of the time? Yes, you are going to meet people on your way if you're good at creating relationships, of course, and you're social, but most of the time you are going to be on your own. So are you going to be okay with that? Are you going to enjoy traveling around the world on your own while all your family and friends are back in the UK, for example? Are you okay with that? Because you might be a homebody and you might not know it, but at the same time, you might love traveling, being on your own and meeting new people and being in new places. Do you want to travel the world ongoing on an unlimited time scale, or is it just for a few years? If it's for a few years, what's your plan after the few years? Do you want to return back home, like the UK, for example? Or have you got a country, an end country in mind that you eventually want to move to? Where in the world do you want to travel? And do you know how much it is to live there? Because obviously each country is going to be different to live. Like in the UK, for example, it's very expensive. In Dubai, very expensive. Singapore, very expensive. But on the flip side of that, Thailand, very cheap. South America, the Philippines. So you need to nail that down. You also need to confirm why you want to go to these countries. Is it just to soak in the culture? Is it just to live cheap? Or are you just on a free timeline and you just want to travel the world with no plan at all? But then if you're doing that, why? So hopefully those list of questions have given you a starting point just to get your mind thinking a little bit, and hopefully it will help shape you making the decision of whether you really want to be a digital nomad full-time and quit your current job. Okay, so the next part of the framework is to talk about the switch to remote working from where you're currently working, which is location bound. And this is where probably 90% of the population are working. An example of this is a dentist or a doctor or an engineer that's at a particular location. And this is where most of the population's pattern or lifestyle lies when it comes to earning money. And some people are happy with that, to be honest, and good for them. But I know for me, that's not where I want to be, and I'm guessing the reason why you're watching this video, that's not your favored option either. So there are 4 types of ways that we all make money. The first one is where you're an employee and you are either location bound or you are independent of a location. And as mentioned before, an example of that would be a doctor or a dentist where they have to work in one practice in a particular town and they are bound to that location because that's where their clients are. There are times, however, where a person can work for a company, but they might be able to work from home. So they're not necessarily location bound, but they might have to be in that particular country or near that town because their bosses might want them to go in every now and again, or they have to be at least on the same working pattern, which means that you are kind of free in terms of location, but you're still bound in one way, shape or form. An example of this might be a software engineer where they can do all of their coding at home. They don't really need to be in the office, but they might need to be around that area so they can pop into the office every now and again for meetings or to demonstrate work that they've done while being at home. And this might suit some of you. It's kind of digital nomad-esque because that person could probably bounce around from coffee shop to coffee shop or hotels or different places around the country, but you are going to need to stay around that area. But that might suit you and that's fine, but that's not true digital nomad lifestyle. Okay, so now we've covered the employed, location bound and location independent. And now we'll move on to the self-employed options. So we've got self-employed, location bound, and self-employed, location independent. And if you're a window cleaner, for example, you can be employed, but you are location dependent because you have a set of houses within a particular town that you have to go to on a daily basis. So you are not free at all to move around. And then the final sweet spot of a role or lifestyle is the self-employed person who is location independent, where they can earn money. They don't have to be in a particular town, they don't have to go to an office, and they are totally free to do what they want, and they can earn wherever they go. And this is where we introduce the term freelancer, because this is where we hit the sweet spot, where we earn, we move around, we're self-employed, and we don't need to be anywhere because we're a freelancer, and we can get customers, clients, whatever you want to call them, anywhere in the world. Which leads us on to the next step, which is how do we make money as a digital nomad? So if being a freelancer is the way to go, how do we get there, and how do we make money so we can live the true digital nomad lifestyle? Now, you can become a content creator, of course, but it's coming a little bit of a cliche now, and everyone is teaching that. So I'm not going to go through that in this, but you can become a content creator, but it's going to take you years to build up an audience where you can finally monetize things and start doing affiliate marketing and things like that. So that is definitely an option. But because it takes so long, we're going to skip that option because we need to make money quite quickly. You can also build a business, of course, but building a business is difficult as it is, even when you are settled in one location and you can work extremely hard and you're not moving around from different country to country. So just imagine what it's going to be like moving from country to country trying to build a business. So again, that option is possible, but it's quite difficult, it's going to take time, and we're going to skip that option again because we need to start making some money ASAP. So we go full circle, back round to being a freelancer, which is definitely the most easiest way to start living that digital nomad lifestyle and earning money as quickly as possible. So how to become a freelancer? So firstly, what you're going to need is a skill. You're going to need some expertise, you're going to need some experience in one particular area. Because as a freelancer, what we are essentially doing is we are selling our knowledge, we're selling our skills, we're selling our expertise for money, for clients that want to learn what we know. And the brutal truth of it is, if you don't have a skill, you don't have any knowledge, you don't have any expertise in a particular niche, then you're going to need to get one. It's as simple as that. However, it's highly likely that you do have this. You just might not know it yet. So you're going to need to go through some kind of exercise to help bring that to the forefront of your consciousness. But just look around on what you've done in the past 5-10 years of your life, because I can almost guarantee you've been knees deep in one particular niche for a very long time. And even though you might not think that's a skill you can sell, it probably will be. And there are some really weird and wonderful ways and skills that you can teach people, and there's a lot of people out there, I can almost guarantee it, that are willing to pay money. And this can literally be anything. It doesn't even need to be your job. It can be a hobby or an interest or a passion that you've got. Horse riding, could be football, crochet, could be martial arts. You might be a software engineer, marketing executive, sales executive. Can you teach these businesses on how to sell properly? There are so many out there. And so let's say you've chosen your niche and you know what area you can offer your expertise in. Here's a few examples of how you can sell your services through your business. So you've got the quite obvious coaching. You can coach one-on-one. You can do this through Zoom with your clients, and so you can be anywhere in the world and teach them. You can do it through group coaching, which is basically the same thing but with groups. You can do it with classes. You can teach languages, for example. You can do classes, whether that's daily, whether that's one-on-one, whether that's with groups. You have got an online course, and you can offer that with one-to-one or group coaching at the same time. So it might take you a little while to build this course, but once you've done it, it's there and you can offer your coaching services on top of that. Then you've got a subscription service where people pay you a monthly amount to either meet you in person, they might meet you in group settings, you might just do some one-off consulting, for example, or you might offer multiple businesses your services to work for them on an ad hoc basis. So you might do it in a package, or it might be a subscription service, as I mentioned before. Okay, so now you've got a few ideas, and again, any of the niches I mentioned earlier can fit into those services packages, subscriptions, whatever you want to call it. So now you know that, how are we going to find clients? Because we need to drum up some business, especially before we quit our job. We don't want to be finding clients after we've quit our job, because that's just going to add a load of pressure that you don't need. So my advice on this would be to start finding clients while you've got a full-time job. And I would highly recommend that you offer your services for free to at least some people. Because what you can do there is, because you're so unknown, people might not come to you, in all honesty. But if you can prove that you've worked with other people, you can get testimonials and you can put that out there on social media to prove that you are who you say you are and you can do what you say you can do. And from doing that, you're going to build an audience. Word of mouth is obviously going to grow as well. So then you might start offering these new clients a lower package because again, they're new. Or you might want to charge full price, that's up to you. There's ways you can do it, but I would tier it by offering it for free, then doing it kind of cheap, and then upping your price as you get more experience. Although I do know some consultants out there that just jumped straight into the deep end and they started charging a lot of money right off the bat. And because they had really good marketing, they had really good testimonials, and their content online was very good, people actually started paying it. So you don't need to do that, but that is definitely the easier route in. Then you will eventually start to gain momentum, and there will be a point while you're working and you're doing this freelancing work on the side where you think, I've actually got quite a lot of clientele now, and I know I can earn enough to be able to survive as a digital nomad. And it's at this point where you will write your letter of resignation, which will be a very, very exciting time, but very nerve-wracking all at the same time. Take it from someone that's done it before, but then you'll be ready to put on your big boy pants and jump into the full-time world of digital nomad. So let's say you are now a digital nomad and you've been doing it a few years and you've been exchanging your time for money, i.e. people pay you for you putting time into working with them. And that's great. You might want to carry on with that. And I know a lot of people who actually love doing that. But if you want true freedom and you want to be able to earn while you sleep, while you surf, while you eat, while you travel, whatever you're doing, then passive income is the way to go. So this next step is talking all about transitioning into passive income. And passive income comes in the form of consistent income that is being generated on a regular basis from something that you have either built, bought, or invested in. And these things, these cash flowing things, are called assets. So what we are doing, we're either building them, we're either buying them, or we're either investing in cash flowing assets that are going to continually bring money into our bank, hopefully on a monthly basis until potentially the day you die. But again, these things are going to take time to build. If you've not got any money when you first start, obviously you're not going to be able to invest or buy something, right? You might be able to build something for free, but it's going to take you time. And so this is not going to happen overnight. It might take you 6 months, it might take you 12 months, it might take you 18 months, it might even take you a few years, but that's fine. That is the plan. We're working towards something that eventually can bring us passive income where we can just leave it and it brings us money into our back pockets while we sleep. And I want to give you a few more ideas like I did in the last step, just so it gives you, a start off of 10 and get your mind thinking a little bit. And the first one I'm going to mention is, I mentioned it before actually, and that's building a course. Now, that is essentially a cash flowing asset. And it's kind of semi-passive because you have to essentially build it first, and it might take you 6 to 12 months to build a course. But once it's built, you might not have to do anything to it ever again, and money can literally be flowing into your bank on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, potentially till the day you die. Something else I mentioned at the beginning of this video is content creation. You can monetize content creation on platforms such as YouTube and TikTok. But again, this is something that's going to take a few years to build. You're going to have to build an audience, of course, and eventually you can monetize through these platforms. They will pay you for views, but at the same time, you can leverage that audience and you can sell things like other courses, potentially your own course, and you can be affiliate marketer and sell other people's courses to your audience. There is something called a software as a service, where you have essentially built a software that solves a real world problem. And you can sell it as a package. You might sell it as a £5 package, and that's just a one-time payment. Or you might be able to sell it as a subscription service, which would be even better, because again, that's just building on this consistent cash flowing asset. And then you've got the most obvious one, which is to invest in things like crypto or stocks. And you've got property as well, but property might be really difficult when you're moving from country to country. But things like investments on crypto and stocks are very good because you can do it all online and you don't need to be at a particular physical location to make that happen. But just imagine after a few years, you've been freelancing and you're earning good money, and you're using that freelancing money or your extra time to build one of these cash flowing assets. So you're not earning money just from exchanging your time, you're earning money while you sleep from this cash flowing asset, and it can be a very powerful thing, and it can give you true freedom that most people in this world are really looking for. So that is it. That is the framework. It sounds really easy, and it kind of is really easy, but it's only easy if you put the work in, and it's going to take time. But I've done it, I know a lot of other people that have done it, and it is easier than you think. So now you know about it, what's the choice going to be? Are you going to continue working in your 9-to-5 job in the office that you probably don't like with the people that you potentially really hate? Or are you going to make this change? You're going to start working towards a new, better future, as cheesy as that sounds. But if you did take value from this, please like the video, please subscribe, and until next time,